relax the shoulder. Just like,
Okay.
now you can keep going from side to side like this, right?
Like this?
There's a side to side with a dip, right? But then you can, then you do like this. Roll it forward. And you're making a, people see you making a figure eight, but you just like to go. So the guy now could be like,
Yes.
I can just like,
Yes.
no
And
hands.
all I, the girl
And the
just
girl
coming
will be
in.
right here, just bubbling, bubbling. And you gotta dip, and dip, and dip. You understand?
I took it easy on him. Machel Montano. Oh, man.
You're now checking out Renata Romaine, cool.
As he is doing it, Machel Montano is here, the king of soca music. Welcome to Air Candy Mornings.
Thank you for having me.
On Hip Hop Nation. Let me just let the audience, because this is Hip Hop Nation.
Right?
They're not exposed to this
Right.
all the time. So let's just let this marinate real quick. Oh man, I'm so excited to have you here today. Now this is what I grew up on. I'm a girl from Brooklyn.
Right?
Family
get it.
from Panama. I get it.
Yeah.
I've done my little soca fests and carnivals and everything. And, we have the joint. Shout out to the joint. You can get your Caribbean music over there. But, a lot of people may not be exposed to Machel Montano. So you are an icon in your own right. But let me just put it in context for the people listening. You're like the Jay-Z of Caribbean soca music. Is that right?
Something like that. I've been called many of those, the Jay-Z, the Michael Jackson, all
The
different
Michael Jackson.
generations of like this to this music, and it's funny. I just been a hardworking pioneer for soca music and music of the Caribbean, and I think New York will get it. I think the hip hop crew will get it because New York, as you said, is so strange. You're from Brooklyn, you grew up with all this.
Yeah.
You know about the Labor Day parade.
Of course.
Even if you're up in the Bronx, you're in Harlem, wherever Caribbean people have filtered, and we've been brought here, and we kind of built this city. Even hip hop itself was built on Jamaican roots and stuff like that.
Listen, hip hop, especially like in the 90s, they call it the golden years.
Yeah.
The 90s, early 2000s. Hip hop was here.
Yeah.
Caribbean music was right here too. Do you remember that?
Yeah. The days of, the first album to ever go platinum or gold was Harry Belafonte's Calypso.
Nice.
Ever in the history
Wow.
of all music industry.
Right.
So, and it was big. They were signed to a lot of big labels like RCA, and it was just in a different. One was in the street and one was in the different parts of the city.
Right. I mean, you have your greats. You have the Buju's. Free Buju Banton. You have your Beanies and you have your Allison Hines and Square Ones and your Burning Flames. I mean, you have the greats.
Even your El General.
Of course.
Gotta shut up. My
Reggaeton,
group.
of course. So, for me, I know how big and impactful the music has been, but do you feel, generally speaking, it's been getting, the respect that it's due?
Well, it takes time. I've been somebody at the forefront of this, this challenge. I call it a challenge. I remember at 11 years old, at 9 years old, I was opening for Sparrow and Kitchen in Madison Square Garden.
Sparrow. Yes.
A child. And then I remember at some point in time figuring out that this music has to revolutionize, it has to become hip. And this soca music, this version of Calypso, which is the soul of Calypso.
Yes.
It's now presently the sound of the Caribbean, I call it. But this music was kind of born in the 70s, so it's not that old, and it's a bit young, and it's coming. And, you have to figure out what is it and what does it want to be. It really is the soundtrack to Carnival.
Yes.
So you go on a Labor Day parade, you could hear a little reggae, you could hear a little reggaeton, you'll hear a little dancehall, but soca music is what drives people behind the trucks to jump up. It's the spirit of the mass. It's that happy celebration, whining, which is something very unique.
We're going to talk more about that coming up.
Yeah.
It's Machel Montano. He's in here with us. We're going to talk about your new film. How do you pronounce it? Badozee?
Badozee.
Okay.
Badozee.
Okay.
It means sprung.
Uh-oh.
Sprung.
I was going to ask you.
Equivalent.
Uh-oh. We'll talk more about that coming up. Also, the culture of the music and just Carnival, because it is a celebratory thing. I remember my very first experience on Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn. I think my very first Caribbean song that I can remember. No, it wasn't Dollar Wine.
I just going to say 5 cents, 10 cents, $.
That's what comes to mind, but I'm sure I was exposed prior. But yeah. We'll talk more. It's Machel Montano. You got collabos with Busta.
Yeah.
You was just on stage with Drake.
Pitbull.
What? Dougie Fresh.
Yeah, Wyclef.
It's the king of soca here. Now, you know, Machel, before you leave, you have to give us a little demonstration on whining. Okay? I love a man that can whine right.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do it right.
It's all about the waist. You gotta leave the shoulders out. You know, it's all the lower half.
Okay, so you're gonna show us that, and we'll snap it. Okay, folks. So follow us at Machel Montano.
Yeah, at Machel Montano on Instagram and on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So congratulations on your film debut. When I first heard you had a film, I said, "Oh, here we go." You know, I'm just thinking it's just going to be the same old. I actually really thought it was going to be some shoot 'em up, bang, bang type of thing, gangster flick. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, it was about the culture and the music, and it just made me feel so happy.
It's about love.
Yeah, it's about love.
It's an energy, and you see, that's the most important thing. You asked me what I thought about the soca getting the respect, but you know, it's about getting the look and the familiarity and coming out of there. And beyond putting out music, soca music, or making soca music for Carnival, we've been striving for like 10 years, 20 years now, trying to take the music to the international market, to the corners of the globe, but at the same time still dedicating to our community and our purpose, because our purpose is to give people that sound that liberates them during Carnival.
Yes.
It's that freedom. You know, people, when you see people playing mass or out there, they're paying money for costumes when they have mortgages, they have like rent to pay, and they have
serious
bills, and they got problems, but they look happy.
They look happy. And isn't it like a contest too? Like, so people are competing.
Well, they kind of competing in bands, not necessarily they competing. You know, the bands competing, and it's not really about the money. It's about just those 2 days of freedom and joy and freedom of expression, and it goes way back to slavery.
Right.
You know, that was the days that the plantations would give the slaves to go and celebrate, you know, whoever they are and what their traditions
the one
were.
day off.
Yeah, you know, and they took that day out of joy, even under suffering. So still today, out of all these stresses, this is what people like. They love to celebrate this joy, and soca music is about that joy. Soca was created from the African calypso and, you know, African influences, but it was also a marriage of the East Indian drum.
I'm glad you said that, because I was taken aback at how you infuse Indian culture in Trinidad. I've never been to Trinidad.
That's what we are.
And I've never knew there are a lot of Indians.
As many Africans as there are Indians. We almost 50-50, and we extend outward to, you know, Chinese, Asians, and of course, you know, Syrians and Caucasians. We have a eclectic mix, and the difference with the island is, you know, we were brought there from all over to work on, just like America, you have immigration
in the fields and everything. Yeah.
But you know, in New York, you'll still see Chinatown, you'll still see Little Italy or Little Armenia. In Trinidad and Tobago, there's none of that. We just all crammed together. You have Muslims celebrating Christmas and Diwali. You have Hindus celebrating Eid and Christmas, you know, and vice versa. Right. So we kind of share each other's traditions, and I think that unique way has brought about this unique music. Soca music is the music that represents this unique festival, Carnival, and ultimately at the bottom of it all is the love that people express side by side, no matter what tribulations they're going through, to celebrate together. And then they blend, and in this love, you know, they have kids, they start families.
Well, the name is, how do you pronounce it?
Douglas.
What?
Badozee.
Badozee.
They get Badozee,
it means sprung,
and then they make Douglas. Douglas is African and Indian children mixed.
Oh my goodness!
You know, it's a good thing. It's a happy thing. We need to teach the Republicans and the Democrats some of that.
Maybe people won't be as stressed, man.
Yeah.
In the movie, is it in theaters nationwide?
It's opening tomorrow nationwide. Yeah, definitely. Go on Fandango, check it out.
Machel, you're sleeping. It's in theaters today.
It's
already Friday, man.
I'm actually going to see it tomorrow at Brooklyn Museum. So I keep mixing up, but it's out right now. Actually.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Badozee.
Badozee.
Got it. Mm-hmm. So now you've been doing this for like over 30 years. Mm-hmm. And earlier I mentioned a lot of the greats. Like every decade you have like that great artist.
Right.
But you've managed to have the crown all this time. How have you done that?
I think it's a blessing, you know. I mean, I think my purpose is really different and really special. You know, I came out, you know, as a child star when, you know, calypso was just transforming into soca, And for me, the most important thing, it was part of like us embracing our identity. Caribbean youth, we were really exposed to hip hop and R&B, and I remember singing calypso and being famous amongst the old people, and asking my mom, well, where are my peers? And I went to see my peers, and they were all looking at screaming for people who were lip syncing Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison,
wow,
and
right,
Tainted Love and Buju Banton, and
right,
when I started singing calypso, I was booed. I was booed, or they turned their backs, or they walk off. And for me, immediately, that was such a significant moment in my life, because I was like, I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be liked. But I was like, do I sing R&B and hip hop, or do I really try to focus on fixing this problem? And I had to work on soca music for years for people to like it.
Right.
As much as 10 years ago, Jamaicans didn't really like soca that much, and now we see a lot of Jamaicans embracing soca. I think it's really about the work that I've been doing. So I have stayed on top of my game because I've stayed true to my purpose.
Yes.
And I've always been innovating, and I've always embraced all the young people. I believe this is my movement. It's called the Monk. The Monk music philosophy is movement of new knowledge.
Love it.
And we embrace the triangle of Monk, which is the tradition on the left, but the technology on the right.
Love it.
Bring it in the middle for the truth. This is the past and the ancestors and the calypso and the culture, but over here you have the young kids with the Snapchat and the phones and the Instagram and
Gotta
Facebook.
keep up.
So we use both things. We respect both things, and we kind of work together to try and change the world today. Like teach messages of love, which is what Badozee is about.
Right.
Messages of unity. Messages of paying attention to the planet.
Yes.
All these things we are about. So I think me just being about that and embracing young and old, but staying in the present.
I think that's key.
Kept me relevant always.
And I think that's why you can rock a stage at OVO Fest with Drake. Yeah. That's why you can do music with Busta Rhymes. Ariana Grande, for goodness sakes, you've done music with her.
Laser. And I mean, it's just about that. It's about having fans of all different ages on the different sides of the scale, from 5 years old to 95 years old. I have fans, and it's because they appreciate the energy. And I think in everything that I do, I want to share this energy, this energy of love, this energy of togetherness, understanding, and appreciating each other.
Who else in hip hop would you like to work with that you haven't? Because you have a lot of these guys, I think, that's trying to incorporate that sound. You have the Futures to the Fetties. A lot of that music, they experiment with different sounds.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm fans of everybody's music because I'm fans of good music. Sometimes, it's hard for me to wrestle with some of the lyrics, but I'll never judge, singing about drugs or singing about girls or singing about cars or singing about, gangbanging or whatever. That is the culture of whatever the person is talking about. Sometimes it's real, sometimes it's made up.
A lot, sometimes it is, made up.
But I think, I really want to work with people like, Kendrick Lamar. Sometimes when they sing about the struggle. I love Drake's music. I love his incorporation of the Caribbean. People like Rihanna, who's on top of her game.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I don't have a particular, sit down here and say I want to work with anybody. Working with somebody as it has been in the past, like Wyclef, anybody like that, is because we have a relationship and a purpose, a dual purpose, and we understand each other's music, or we understand each other's greatness.
Yes.
And we want to partner with that.
Yes.
So it's all about working with people who want to, kind of collaborate with the mission that I'm about, which is lifting up people, empowering people, and of course, putting Caribbean music and Caribbean lifestyle on the map, because I believe our potential is to influence the world in a positive way.
Good time, feel good music with a message, positive, purpose about something, good vibrations. Machel Montano.
Yeah.
That's why they call him the king of soca music. He is here having breakfast with us. I'm Renata Romaine, your ear candy. Check out his movie. It's in theaters today. Badozee. I got it. It means sprung. And in film, you do get a little sprung.
It's a French Creole, big up all the Haitians, but we have French influence in Trinidad. It's from the word Badozee, which means something like to fall crazy in love and do crazy things.
Well, yeah. So did you get the acting bug? Because you're pretty good.
Of course I got the acting bug. I had love scenes, when you get love scenes and you get to kiss for like 5 hours, and it's a good one, you just say, hey, I could do this all day.
But I hear it's awkward though.
For me, I didn't think it was awkward. Well, when you both have people in your life,
Right.
You know, you have to be really professional about it.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but I think you know, once you're very professional about it, and I had a really good.
You still enjoyed yourself, huh?
Yeah, I had a good co-star. I had a good time. It was my first time, you know, actually doing it, and I thought I was a natural. Some Denzel came out.
Okay. So now I've never been to Trinidad and Tobago. I have a lot of friends from Trinidad. They go to Carnival every year. It's in February, correct?
Yep. 2 days before Lent. Always 2 days before Lent. See, we commit what we call the sins. And then we go to church and we beg for forgiveness and get our ashes and all these things.
And honey, I hear there's a lot of sinful nature going on out there.
To say sin is to judge. It's not sinful. It's really happy. It's really fun. It's really party.
Machel, you talking to me, man.
Go Badozee, watch Badozee, and you look at it. Come on, I'm telling you.
Machel,
it's a good time.
what happens in Trinidad during Carnival stays in Trinidad.
That's right.
But if someone were to come to your country, what will they find?
I mean, they will find a unique blend of culture. The most important thing they'll probably find food that they would find nowhere else in the world. Doubles, pilau. They would find people that look like people they never see nowhere else in the world.
Right.
They will find probably the last instrument created in the 21st century, steel pan.
Steel
and
pans,
see it in
yes.
a unique way. And they'll find the best carnival. I mean, ultimately, you will find the best of both worlds. Trinidad is like New York City. And we still have beaches and nice mountains and trails and hikes. But Tobago is like Barbados or like a real, you know, Hawaii.
Right,
you know,
right.
So you have this serious island with all the clubs and the partying and the strips. Like, you know, the avenue in New York will be almost like what will happen in Manhattan on a nightly basis in Trinidad. And then in Tobago, it's really about slow pace, the beaches, the nice waters, and you could go dive in and snorkeling and see the coral
Beautiful.
reef. Yeah. So we have the best of both worlds, and Tobago is like 10 minutes away from Trinidad by a plane. It's two islands, one country.
Yeah.
Best.
If you can tell your people one thing, you know, people that really hold up the culture and really want to make the music more mainstream, if you will, if that is the direction, what's your desire for the music and the culture?
Well, I mean, we have to, we continue on our side working as hard as we can to take it to the corners of the globe. You know, taking your music to the corners of the globe is about crafting it. It's about, you know, compromise. You know, some people say that you're crossing over. Some people call it selling out. Some people say watering down. But at the end of the day, it's a conversation we're trying to have with the world. Here's our sound. Here's our language. And we come in peace. So we try to mix the music. I always think of it as me having soca and reaching out to people like Wizkid from Africa and Nigeria and Timaya, and reaching out to Indian artists and reaching out to hip-hop artists. Because I want us to talk to each other, to speak to each other. When your audience sees me speaking to you and you speaking to me, then they speak to each other, and then we encourage a movement of embracing and, you know, appreciating each other. So I think soca music is a vehicle right now. You know, I have worked hard at it and I see the results. You look at the top 10 songs on the Billboard charts, songs like One Dance, you could hear soca. Justin Bieber's Sorry, you could hear soca. You could hear it in almost everything. Influence, and there's been dancehall in there, you know. So I love that idea of let's use this music to meet each other. Let's use this beat, you know, to meet on the dance floor. If it's one Hennessy or if it's one bottle of rum,
honey,
you know, let's have fun and let's wine together. You know,
well, we're about to wine. It's Machel Montano, man. Congratulations on all of your success. Thank you for just making that good music.
Thank you.
Wait. We're gonna go out on something right here. One of my favorites. I mean, it's like the classic Machel Montano. Is this like your biggest record?
Of course.
Would you say that is your biggest?
Probably biggest crossover. This is one I produced myself, wrote myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go out on that.
Yeah, this is the good one. This is the one wine before the one dance.